Hey guys, do you like my apron? My daughter loves it. Ugh, but daughter loves everything though. I just think she loves whatever mom does. My children are crazy. They will love me in the most ugliest of outfits and tell me, you look so cute, you look so beautiful. Love blinds you to the flaws. True love blinds you to the flaws. A friend of mine, I'm going like on different tangents because a lot has happened in my actual life that I haven't shared yet. But okay, this is the first tangent. Ever since I involved attorneys, like I told you guys, it's over. I am not married. Therefore, I want to live my truth or the truth, which is that I'm not married. So I've now involved, I went to consult attorneys and all of that. And um, part of that empowered me. I first saw a female lady, obviously she's female, and she's like, yeah, the way he sounds very controlling. Nothing will be easy for you. You're going to have to subpoena this and that. And I thought, wow, I hadn't actually told her anything about anything he's said, done over the years. But just from the few nuggets she could glean, because it was an information session, she was giving me information, she could tell that this one is not one of those, you know what, let me make life easier. I already messed up her life. I already destroyed her life. I took the best years of her life. Let me now just give her what she wants so that I can keep enjoying the floozy and the harlot in Santon and wherever else. It's not one of those. And you know, legally, ladies, you can, because he's refusing. In October last year, when I found out that he's been giving money to his floozy in Santon, I asked, hey, wait a minute. Can you give me bank accounts? I need to know how much money have you been giving this woman because we are married in community of property. Our property is ours. It's not his alone. Girls, be careful of the man who constantly teaches women must be mothers. God, blah, blah, blah. God said this is the best role ever because they might not mean it. They speak with forked tongues. God certainly regards mothers who are teachers, child raisers in high regard. He does. Look, that one, if you are Adventist and you follow the Bible and the spirit of prophecy like Titus 2, God holds women who can, of course. If you're a widow, you can't be staying home unless you're somewhere rich in the first world. But in the ideal world, where it's a choice, God values or holds in high esteem the woman who puts her children and husband first. This dude doesn't. You see it in the way he only views his work as work. Whereas if your child is an au pair and she comes back, you're gonna ask her, how was work? If your sister is a nanny and she comes back, you'll ask her, how was work? If your friend is a chef, you'll ask him, how was work? Because all those things are work. The cooking, the nursing, the planning of therapy. If I'm a researcher in a lab and I come home, you will ask me, how was work? All those things we do are a work. He does not view it that way. That's one of the many things. The other lawyer asked me, does he respect you? Has he ever respected you? And I told him no. Ever since the beginning of time, I would ask him, please talk to me like I'm an adult. I'm not a child. You're not some professor who knows more and you're imparting, these pearls of wisdom to an idiot. I am an adult. I'm not stupid. But anyway, wow, I've gone so much off tangent. I don't remember the off tangent I'd gone off on. The off ramp is like the Johannesburg highway. It's so confusing. My friend saw an email. Yes. Coercive control, guys. Look up coercive control. I've been living under coercive control where they make it seem as if you're doing these things by choice, but you're not. You feel like you have no choice. They control you, they control your mind, and it works so well with Christianity because you must submit to your husband. Now, unfortunately, they forget the part that says only obey if it pleases the Lord, obey in the Lord. And when you eventually start saying, this is not in the Lord, no, I'm not going to listen to you, that's when they start hating you. And I mean that seriously. I've said it all along. A friend of mine, another friend, a different friend, saw the emails just from this week between him and I. And she said, she said, like, wait a minute, do you still live in the same house? And I said, yep. And she said, how in the world do you do it? How do you share space with someone who hates you? You are stronger than you know. I'm stronger than you know. And I'm proud of that, because I've been forged in the fire and I've not been burnt. Instead, I've been purified and strengthened, and I shall come out as gold. So, two strangers, two friends, definitely two friends, have seen through the facade, and it's coercive control. Do this or else I will withdraw A, B, C, D, E. Don't cry because I hurt you, or I will punish you by withdrawing affection. That was one of the things he did back in 2016 when he'd been unfaithful multiple times and lied and pretended he would not be unfaithful. That was one of the big punishments. And for someone who married because they want to love and be loved, what do you think happens? If they're strong and already see the game for what it is, they will leave. But if they're Christian and they keep being told, no, don't seek perfection, nobody can be perfect, then you think, okay, well, he's not perfect yet, but he will be better, That's what they keep telling us. It's impossible. It's impossible to be perfect can be translated into, it's impossible to be kind to your wife as God wants you to be. It's impossible to be truthful as God wants you to be. It is a dangerous thing to say that righteousness is impossible. I've never believed it, but I also didn't know the heart of the one I linked mine to. I didn't know, as you know, that the sermons, the words, they weren't actually a reflection of the heart. My words have always been a reflection of what's inside. Those whose lifestyles I hate, they know I hate them, but they also know I love talking to them. They know that I see more than just the lifestyle. I see them as well as God's children, my sisters. That's the difference. He will hate you, denigrate you behind your back, and you'll never know how he really feels about the things you did or things you didn't do, or how you don't control your wife because you can't make her cover her head. Not that he's made me cover my head. I studied it myself first. But suddenly those other men are losers, not worth listening to, because they don't make guys, the machinations, the way they do mental gymnastics is indescribable. How is it that you yourself, dear sir, never thought, wives should cover their heads, or women? Now suddenly that's a standard. It's a test of who you will respect. When your own wife told you she should cover her head, well, girlfriend at the time, like, how does that work? Really? And if you question them, then you'll be disrespecting them. If you ask, that makes no sense. The measure of a man and his character is not seen in his wife, because his wife is not a toy. She's not a doll. She's not a robot. He cannot lead a church, yes, but she's not a toy, a robot for him to manipulate. And he did succeed, so that's why he thinks like that. There are many ways he succeeded. The fact that I'm still here now in 2026 shows how well he succeeded. So number one, when you're married in community of property, you have the law behind you. Number two, you don't have to divorce. You can separate. If you read testimonies, the book that I shared a bit from, you can separate. You do not have to stay with him. That is something no one in my church has ever told me. And so I thought the only way to be free of him and the other people is to divorce. And I had not yet known of any evidence. I didn't have any evidence that he was being unfaithful. For all I know, he could have been unfaithful like the other sibling of his before even he got married. I won't know. I don't know now. I'll know when God comes back. Maybe I'll ask. I am hoping I won't even care. So, yeah. So, in community of property, I'm going to come back to that. 2, coercive control is making someone feel like they are less than. It's controlling someone in a manipulative psychological manner, where there are no marks on their face, but you've bruised their heart, where they feel if they do not conform, you will stop loving them, where they feel that if you do not do what they want you to do, you will withdraw from them, and they feel they have to please you because that's what they married you for, to please you. No, in England, coercive control is a crime. Coercive control is when someone intentionally tries to control you or make you behave in a certain way by doing or saying things that make you feel afraid, ashamed, anxious, unsure, or upset. It began even before we were married with the whole taking my virginity. I'm not going to kiss you. That's only for grannies. That makes you feel unsure. That makes you feel ashamed. I need to grow up. Adults do it. There's something wrong with me for wanting to stay pure until the day I'm married. It's all about controlling you to do things you did not want to do. Patterns of behavior that are intended to exert power or control over the survivor. Perfect for the church, because I'm the head, I'm the man that is control over, if you view it that way, as opposed to I will lead us into safe places like a shepherd leads its sheep. There's a difference. But with coercive control, the rule of submission is used as a rod to beat, not to guide. Love bombing is another example. They're doing it to make you fall in love with them sooner, faster. They're not doing it because they love you. They're doing it so that you believe they love you. Those grand gestures, like there was a big fuss made for our first anniversary of dating. Big party, flowers. That's too much. It's just the first year of dating. That is a form of coercive control. Gaslighting, that's coercive control. Telling me that I did wrong by dumping him for being unfaithful during exams. That's gaslighting me into making me feel guilty, like I'm the one in the wrong. It's continuous. I have been a victim of abuse for so long, and I didn't have a name for it, but I knew it was wrong. I knew it was evil.
When we were going to the garden with Dad, there was this garden, what is it called? Which had a big tree and big roots.
Claremont, in Arden Gardens in Claremont.
You tried to come along with your cane or a walking
My frame.
rail, yes. And then he was saying that this is going to be embarrassing and why you're disabled. Remember that?
I don't even remember it. You and Eliora remember things that I don't even remember. You know, when people have been abused for a long time, they block out a lot of things. And sometimes also I'm thinking so much about you guys, I don't even think about me. So even this holiday, when Ella was here for her university holiday, she said, you see, Mom, there he goes again. He's putting you down. And I hadn't even realized it. So back to the emotional psychological thing. When they say a father who loves the mother of his children blesses the children, now what happens with the opposite? They see it. They see it.
And I felt so bad for you because then you just walked back into the garage sadly. And then I was very grumpy the whole goddamn time. I was not pleased. Also with Rio, when I read, it was my birthday and I read.
repeatedly putting you down, he did it in a subtle manner. Instead of being overt like my mother, you're ugly, you're embarrassing, you look like a boy, blah, 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 blah. He did it the other way. Sandiswa's skirt is lovely, don't you think? So and so's Fiso, my ex, is beautiful. She's prettier. You know, that's putting you down in a horrible psychological way. And you will come across another example in my actual video of putting you down, making you feel like you're less than, making you feel fearful of non-compliance. And yeah, I didn't realize how important this was for all my sisters until I started recording it. So they prevent you from accessing support. Some of the actions are also designed to hurt the partner, not physically but emotionally. Like him inviting female colleagues, only females from his workplace, to your house. That is meant to hurt you. See, I can have any girl. They can just, I've got them at my fingertips. You'd better remain, what is the first definition? Keeping you unsure of where you stand, making you beg, making you feel like you have to do extra in order to be fully loved. That is abuse. That is coercive control. It is evil. So you make a willing sacrifice for a time. My breasts. I had a breast reduction when I was 2. This is the one that really angered my friend. And it's one that I sent to my lawyer as well, my attorney. He had been, this guy sent an email, a horrible email about how he's going to cut off all the cards. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to cut off all the cards right away. And, it was just one of those threatening, I'm still a financial abuser, I can still abuse you financially kind of thing. You're trapped with me. That was the essence of the email. So if you don't toe the line, how dare you ever have questioned me about how much I gave my floozy? What happens between my floozy and I has got nothing to do with you, which he said, literally said. But if it does, you have the law on your side, folk. Even those who got married antenuptial with accrual, whatever, I think it's that, ANC, you've got the law on your side. You have it. Study it. Use a lawyer. You really need to use a lawyer because the courts don't guide you as they should. Do it. Do it, especially if you sacrificed as well. Because this woman in the group, she sacrificed and she took a lower paying job with shorter hours so that she can take care of their children as he wanted. I mean, they both wanted to, but he had a definite say. So now he earns 10 times more than her. And she was saying, okay, but now we aren't married in community of property. So does that mean now that we're divorcing, it will be 50-50? But because that's going to be really hard on me because I've earned much less. These men can trap you even if you have a salary. Except the law is on your side and you will win. So someone told her, sissy, it actually works for you. So the way divorce works is whoever earns the most will pay the most, period. It doesn't matter what that part was, the ANC versus COP in community of property. Whoever earns the most must give to your children the most. You will be fine. Firstly, you both chose it for the children, which the courts, do you know that the courts hold the carers, the parents who sacrifice for the children in high esteem? Did you know that according to the law, the housewife who ensures that the house is running and the children are safe and fed, who breaks her back for the family, is held in as high esteem as the one who went to work outside the home? You are respected. Your children matter. And what happens to them is not based on how your husband views your very high, big, large contribution. Just not financially. It's not based on that. You will be fine. Whoever you are, if you can just afford to see the law, we will all be poorer than we were at the beginning. But justice, the law is just, especially when it comes to this. Okay? The law is just. And so he was telling me that he spent hundreds of thousands on a fool's, I could call it fool's gold, hundreds and thousands without my permission, without my agreeing, with my very clear hell no, against my will, against my don't do it. He, in his email, justified that he did that because he spent surgery, he spent money on me. He called it your boobs and tummy tuck. If you know me long enough, you know that I'm not into cosmetic surgery just for the hell of it. If you've seen my other old videos with their poor sound, you know the trauma and the torture I went through to get those boobs and tummy tuck. You might even remember that when I was getting the reduction, not boob job, when I was getting the reduction, another lady said, but why don't you also get a breast lift? Then they'll be all perky. Because I'm not doing it for cosmetics, I'm doing it for health. These guys lie to themselves and then they lie to you and assume you will fall for their lies. Don't allow yourself to be gaslit. We have grown. We're older. We're wiser. And again, we've got the law on our side. And I'm speaking on behalf of all the baby mamas whose baby daddies, don't you forget that they made babies. You too. The law is on the side of that woman who has nurtured your offspring. Okay? It's on her side. The law will get you. So, he said, that money that I spent, those hundreds of thousands, which were double this money we spent on my surgeries, it's justified because you paid for your surgery, so I can do what I want. Plus, I'm going to come back to the plus. Firstly, the surgery was because my abdominal muscles after the twins had separated by 13 centimeters. The abdominal muscles should generally be like maybe 1 centimeter apart. Imagine being able to fit your whole hand in and you tell me that's just a tummy tuck. It's a repair of a diastasis recti. Don't let anybody put you, if you're in that position, in the same bracket as others who just want a tummy tuck because they're vain. You know, those people who make a living from their bodies and want to be naked and applauded by the world. You know, the celebrities, those people. Then you see the belly buttons up here instead of where they should be. You know, you're not one of those people. You're not one of them. Hold your head up high. You didn't do it for vanity. You also did it for comfort, for health's sake. And so that was number one. Number two, they were saying if your muscles are just like, then they're not supporting your body. So no wonder your back pain has increased. We didn't know then there was AS. Secondly, my boob job was a second breast reduction. You know why? I reminded him in the email. He was the first one to make it urgent. I'd been to doctors about back pain, and they'd always say, do you know how big your bust is? I mean, they didn't mean it horribly. They would say, have you realized how big your bust is and how heavy that must be? So obviously that's putting strain on your back. 4 doctors, different, orthopedic surgeon, GP, you know, it was the first thing they said. It's the first thing they saw. And it does make sense. But I kept ignoring them because I knew there was something else, guys. I knew it was not my breast that were making my back, my lower back, my SI joints, my hips sore. I just knew. But then he told me, my wife, your breasts are too big. Coercive control is cruel to you. But because you might have, like me, grown up with your mother, who everyone says loves you, told you you're ugly, you're embarrassing, you look like a drunkard over and over and over and over and over and over again, you don't even realize that he is being toxic and cruel and evil. You only realize it when you realize your mother also was. So he told me, my wife, your boobs are so big. They're not even boobs, they're boobers. It's like udders, boobers. See, boob and ers for udders, boobers. That's your elder who you so idolize. Boober. So I'm writing in the email, copying in my lawyer. This is what you did, dude. It wasn't by choice. You abused me into it. You made me shrink, literally, and become the person you want me to be, physically, but of Because mentally, I've never been the person He wants me to be. I've been the person God wants me to be. I just took a very long route to get there. I had a very long route getting there, and I'm not there yet, but I now understand how God loves me and what God loves me for. It's not my boobers. God wouldn't care if my breasts are large. So I reminded him, and I was saving us money. So I looked for public health care to reduce my bust because of what you were saying, which really was hurtful. Why would you want to be naked with a man who's telling you your breasts are too big? They're like udders, they're boobers, Men are evil. Okay, that kind of man is evil. And this was after he had been unfaithful. If my head had been turned right, screwed on right, I should have told him, go back to Mrs. Nontsikelelo Khatebe, who obviously must be flat-chested. Go to your ideal plastic Barbie and leave me alone with my bust and my children. I should have, but I didn't even consider it. It wasn't even on my mind, because on my mind is, I must save my marriage. I must keep my marriage. I must do anything I can to make my husband happy. I put myself last for his happiness. I had surgery for his happiness. By the time I'd come for the surgery, I said in the other video, the skin over here on my sternum, between my breasts where they begin, it had pulled off my sternum from the weight of the breast. So it was necessary anyway. But there was coercive control, putting me down, making me feel humiliated, ashamed of who I was, ashamed of my body, ugly, like my mother. Secondly, we've already discussed the tummy tuck, but the law, this is the most important part. The law says if you're married in community of property, you need to both agree on debts that are of a large amount, both of you, and on what you will give that is of a large amount. Anything over 20,000, I'm sure even 10,000 if you had a good lawyer, without discussing it together, that's actually against the law. The law will not smile at that. So I told him, it was against the law, dude. You chose to marry. You chose to marry in community of property. So you need to live according to the laws of community of property. Telling me you're going to punish me for asking how much have you spent on this other hoe, when I should actually know. By law, I should know anyway. And then you punish me for wanting to know my rights. That doesn't work. I'm not scared of you anymore, because the law is on my side. Do not be scared. Study. The law is going to be on your side if you have lived righteously all along. In terms of your marital regime, I don't know if you're a drug addict on the other side. If you are, but you didn't use your marital money, then yeah. But don't be a drug addict, please. The law is on your side. So it doesn't matter. Even if I'd spent the exact same hundreds of thousands, we had agreed on it. So it's not the same at all. The law is clear. Those hundreds of thousands should not have been spent if I had said no, which I did. But my friend was hurt and angered by the fact she was there for those surgeries, guys. She literally came down. She was literally there. She came down. She saw the scars that wouldn't heal. She saw the wounds that opened up on one of my breasts. She saw me going up and down for wound care. And for her to know that he was the one who actually pushed me into that surgery. I'd ignored the doctors from 2011 onwards, but it was him, 2017, who told me my boobs are too ugly, basically, some paraphrase. And that made her so angry. Find a friend who'll be angry with you. Find a friend who's also full of righteous indignation with you. She will hold you up when you cannot feel the strength of God. She will hold you up when his hand feels so far away, when he's not answering you and saying, I see you, when he's not verbally telling you, you will be fine. Find a friend like that and hold her tight, and be the friend to her that she is to you. I've got another friend too, same thing. The man, his texts are like the tone. It's as if I was reading something my husband wrote. And also, he's a preacher man, hey? You Christian guys, you can hide from the congregations. You can hide from your real characters from those who put you on the pulpit, but you are not hiding from God. How you treat the women who you pretended to love and the children you made, God sees it all. And then, different topic completely. A few weeks ago, I told the truth on one of my social media. Imagine that I told the truth, and wow, I told the truth about something someone had said, which was really cruel. The person who had said that my children are a curse from God, a punishment for having adopted, because they didn't want me to adopt, and neither did my mother want me to adopt that person. The thing is, not only was that shocking to hear, because who says that? But it was accompanied by cursing and swearing and also telling me, one day you will need us, you will come crawling to us. That's a curse too. Why would you wish evil on someone who's actually done nothing bad to you? To remind you of the circumstances. I had been caring for my parents on my own financially, and the hanger-on they had living with them, who is employed. I was carrying the burden financially, physically, doing their shopping for them. Everything I was doing, the social workers had also deemed unnecessary because my parents had more than enough, except the leech they were living with was stealing from them. So I was doing more than I needed to do. And when this person then told me, you must pay more for a caregiver who will stay longer hours, I asked, but how? With what money? I've got my medical problems. I've got bills to pay. You, like everyone on that side of the family, keeps phoning me. They don't phone me to ask how I am. They get my number from my parents, which is why I changed my number, amongst other people who were contacting me, whose numbers who I'd never given permission to have my number. They keep phoning me, telling me to do things that will cost me even more than I'm already paying. And I said, that's not right. You all have jobs. If you feel this is necessary, why can't you do it? You're all her siblings. You're all her relatives. You all seemingly or allegedly worried. Why is it all on me? Where do I put my own family and children? Where do I put my health? And then that was the reply. And that. You did A, B, C, D, E. You're ungrateful. I don't think so. All I know was not ungrateful because half the things were a lie that my mother must have told her, or she just made up in her own head. And the other things were things like how I was bad to go into mission work. Listen to that. I kind of a Christian said it's bad to have gone and done mission work. Let me answer that rhetorical question. The kind of Christian who would do that is the kind who was like Judas, who saw someone honoring Jesus, his Lord and Master, and criticized the tears that dropped and the oil that was a fragrance for our Lord. That's the kind of Christian, a Judas Christian. They would criticize doing good for Christ. Work. Listen to that. I kind of a Christian said it's bad to have gone and done mission work. A fake one. So yes, it ended, that whole diatribe about how they don't want me to do Christian things, ended with the fact that I'm going to be cursed and come crawling to them. I'd loved this person. I thought she loved me. I didn't know her love was conditional. And I did not know that her conditional love, doesn't become neutral, but it becomes hateful. I did not know. This is someone who would come in, hug me, come into the home, like roll up the sleeves. No, don't worry about doing dishes. I'll do the dishes. I thought she did it because she loved me. Now I think she was just doing it so people to be able to say, wow, she works hard. I don't know. I'm just saying. I loved her with all my heart. She and her late husband, they were the only living relatives. Okay, now he passed away. But she was the only living relative at the time, 2022, who I thought was on the side of love, kindness, loved me without reservation. So to hear those bitter, angry, evil words coming from someone who I thought loved me, was a shocking betrayal. Like, imagine John and Peter when they saw Judas being the one who's ensuring Christ is being manhandled, tortured, abused, and killed. How do you think the disciples felt when they realized who Judas really was? That is how I felt. So this is who she is all this time. And I loved her so purely, so innocently, so naively. I did not know she was capable of so much calculated evil, not only against me, but against my children. So I posted like that. That's all I said. That when the person died, I felt nothing. I felt like what the disciples must have felt when Judas died. Simple. And more specifically, I'd posted it as yet another sign of coercive control, because the father of my children used that, the lack of, oh, woe is me, my life is over, now they're gone, oh. They used my neutral feelings. They used the fact that I would have felt like Peter and John when they saw Judas hanging. He used it as as a weapon to say I'm not Christian, because I didn't mourn and sigh and groan over someone who didn't love me. That was on my own social media. But people don't want you to grieve out loud the betrayals you go through. People don't want you to be honest about what you've gone through if it impacts their idols, the people they idolize. And so someone who'd never said hello to me, someone who'd never even said, I'm so sorry for the loss of your mother, sorry for the loss of your father, someone who was basically dead to me because they hadn't ever communicated in decades, suddenly popped up. These people are stalking our pages. Why would you waste time stalking the page of someone you hate, despise? And I know they despise me because 2 years before that, before those evil words, I had texted them in a group and said, wow, I love the way you loved my aunt. I love, and you see, I'm not even telling you whether it's paternal or maternal. But I texted these people and said, I love the way you loved my aunt. I love how everyone rallied around her. And it was at the funeral, after the funeral, that's what I was hearing, all the lovely things people had been doing for her. No one worked alone like I had been. They were all working for her health and the comfort. So I was praising that, guys. I got no answer, no acknowledgement. But they're stalking me on my social media pages, hating me. And so as soon as I dared to tell the truth about my feelings, about their idol, then they came out the woodwork. They got my number again without my permission. And they told me I'm nasty for saying that I felt the way the disciples would have felt. I'll never apologize for telling the truth. I'll never apologize for telling my experience of someone you worship. Truth is truth. In the same way the Bible was very clear about who was bad, who was evil, who did this and wronged whoever, I will do the same. We know who threw stones at David. I will tell you who threw stones at me. Not because I want you to go after them and stalk their pages like these ones did, who all came en masse and started naming the surname of the people I was referring to and outing the anonymous people I'd been speaking about. But so that you know that you can overcome a lot of hatred and hold your head up high. Don't let anyone try and shrink your body and your soul into their little tiny mold of what they want you to be. You're bigger than that. Princess, daughter of a king. Walk in the knowledge of your innocence and keep looking forward. Yes, we grieve the things that have hurt us terribly. We share so that others know they're not alone. And we warn so that others are aware that not everybody who smiles at them loves them and wants the best for them. Unfortunately, we need to be careful. Be careful of who we give our heart to. It's a very sad lesson to learn, many decades to learn, with many terrible consequences for having done so. But don't regret it. Christ did it on the cross. And they didn't deserve it, as they shouted, "Crucify him." So guys, be strong. Ladies and men who are in divorce situations, ladies in child maintenance situations, be strong. God and the law are on your side, and truth, it will never be wrong to tell the truth. You'll be helping others, saving others, and making others know they're not alone. Take care, folk.